Hi, Jason Lammer with Coldwell Banker Commercial. If you missed the 2021 Real Estate Symposium, we recorded all of the sessions. I'm pleased to introduce Assemblyman Thurston Smith, who provided an update for our district in the state of California. So we're going to move into our next segment, which is community updates. And we are fortunate today to have California Assemblyman Thurston Smith, is California's 33rd State Assembly District, and U.S. Congressman J.R. Winolty with California's 8th Congressional District. Welcome, gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and start with, let's go ahead and start with Smitty. Smitty, how are you doing today?
How are you, Jason? Good morning to you and Chris both. Thank you very much for the opportunity to give you an update.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, I've known you for Smitty for so many years. It's just natural. I actually had to put on the cue card Thurston Smith. So affectionately, we know you as Smitty.
I was going to say, yeah, the Assemblyman now, but you can still call me Smitty, I tell everybody. So
well, I'm looking forward to your update.
Yeah, for the folks that don't know me, I'm a father and I've been married to my wife, Margaret, for 35 years. I tell everybody, a happy wife is a happy life. And my father was in the Air Force, so we traveled around the world, actually, as a young man. I was actually born in Germany, being an Air Force brat. But I started out in the high desert in 1988 as a small business owner, started out my concrete pumping business. But in the meantime, we coached Little League and soccer, but my favorite sport is baseball. So I really loved coaching the kids in Little League. My time in here, we gave up backstops and built batting cages and did a lot of community and park things for baseball in the community. But then in being elected in 2004, I got elected to Hesperia City Council, where I served 8 years on the council, and 3 of those 8 years as mayor. In 9 and 10, I was the 3rd person to serve back-to-back mayors in the city of Hesperia. And then in 2016, I was honored to serve on Mojave Water Agency's board of directors and president in 2014. Which was a great honor. So a lot of experience in the water world. And as I mentioned, I started my concrete pumping business in 1988. I built it up from 1 concrete pump to 13 concrete pumps. And we covered everywhere from Orange County, San Diego, all the way through the high desert, all the way, probably halfway to Northern California and all the way out to the state line. So it was a lot of area we covered out here. The biggest problem in California is the unintended consequences from CARB. That's why I closed down my business. They wanted me to buy a little sticker, which was $5,000 per piece of equipment. Do the multiplication by 13, that's $65,000 a year, an added tax to my business. So in 14, I finally said, that's enough. And I sold it sold it to the 3 top employees that I had at that time. But that is in California, they keep adding regulations that are killing the businesses in California. And of course, in turn, hurts the economy because there's less and less jobs in California. But in my assignments in Sacramento, I'm very well pleased. I'd only asked for about 4 and I ended up with about 8. But I'm the vice chair of environmental safety and toxic materials, which is very fun in California. I'm on the budget committee and then 2 subcommittees. Number 3 is climate change, resources, energy, and transportation. And sub 6 is the budget process, oversight, and program evaluation. Very honored to be on the jobs, economic development, and the economy committee. And we call it GO for all the acronyms of government organizations. And there's a whole nother book of acronyms in the assembly. But very honored to be on the military and veterans affairs in my district, the 33rd Assembly District. It has 2 of the largest military installations in California, if not on the West Coast of the United States. And then another committee is Water Parks and Wildlife, which with my experience on Mojave Water Agency, we need to get more water storage and more water into Southern California, which I continue to fight for those opportunities. Another select committees, and this makes my staff go crazy. I'm on all these committees, but anyway, California lithium economy is very big in the Salton Sea in our desert area. It's going to be the next economic boom for us, besides Brightline, which was a great presentation. Economic development in the Inland Empire. It's San Bernardino County and Riverside County collaborating together for economic development. Transportation solutions, same situation as Riverside and San Bernardino County, combining so we can get our transportation and work together on our infrastructure. And then with my job on the Veterans Committee, I'm on Veterans Employment and Education, and I have a couple bills going through the Assembly that we'll talk about a little bit later to help our veterans do that. Another one, working with San Bernardino County, is our youth homelessness in San Bernardino County. A lot of people don't realize when they're coming out of youth, there's nowhere for the homeless to go to. They have no training, they have no housing when they're coming out of that. So we want to make sure that we help our youth get the education that they need so they can be self-sufficient and be efficient in California. A lot of folks that, if you don't know, this is the map of the 33rd Assembly District. It is the second largest district in California. It runs from our mountain areas. Big Bear cuts around 29 Palms or Yucca Valley, cuts all the way out Highway 62 to the Arizona California border, and all the way north to Trona. So it is a very large district. I tease my counterparts in Sacramento. They can get through their district, some of them in about 20 or 30 minutes. It takes us anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours to get all the way across my district. So it's a lot of area to cover. In regards to the economy and small business, unemployment in California right now is 8.6%. It is come down from about 9.5, and it keeps coming down. So we're lucky that we are getting more and more opened up in California to get people more back to work. But the biggest problem that we've had is the EDD, the continued failures that we've had with that state organization. 2.3 million job claims are backlogged currently right now. And because of that, 1.4 million of suspended claims. And what they did is they froze their EDD claims, and now the people had to start all over with their filing and get back into the system. I have 2 staff members on the staff currently in the district office, and they are doing nothing but working on EDD claims, helping out our constituents in my district to make sure they get the resources that are there that they've earned and they're due. But another big problem is all the fraudulent payments that came from EDD. Currently, it stands between $31 and $33 billion in fraudulent claims, which is very, very tough for the people of California because we still have to pay those taxes. As a business owner, your unemployment taxes currently might be 6%. Anticipate them going up to 10 or 12% for your EDD because that money that is fraudulently done has to be paid back to the federal government, and it'll be on the back of all employers in California. There's the Republican Party asked for a audit of EDD a couple of years ago. It came through, and the EDD department did not do anything to fix the EDD fraudulent claims from the audit findings to fix the problems that they had in EDD. And one of the biggest ones, there's 1,700 unemployment insurance claims that came from one address. You would think that they would be able to fix that with the computer technology that we have nowadays, but those are issues that I'm fighting very hard in Sacramento to try to get them to start going with the audit recommendations and fixing the EDD problem that they've had and get the constituents their resources that are due them so they don't have to wait so long to get their unemployment. Some of the proposals of the governor's budget is $227 billion, and it's $25 billion more than last year's budget. They're calling it a windfall because they underestimated how bad the COVID was going to be earlier between May and June of last year. But currently, there's still over $200 billion in outstanding debt and liabilities in California. I, for one, being a conservative, I think we need to pay down some of that debt. But the governor's expenditures, most of those are that we've spent right now is $15.6 billion. But the federal government is going to pay a lot of those costs to the state. So we anticipate not more taxes into California to help pay for the EDD expenditures from the COVID situation in the last year. I'm a proponent of getting California back opened up. Some of the bills that I've proposed and supported. SB 74 is the Keep California Working Act. It's a bipartisan relief package, and it's estimated at 10% of that 25 billion. So $2.6 billion in grants to small business owners with under 100 employees. It's a bipartisan bill. Over 50 legislators out of the 120 assembly in the state have gotten behind that bill to support it. And it's, like I said, it's based on 10% of the windfalls from the underestimated revenue from last year. California has done very well, even through the COVID, with the technology companies that are still doing very well in California. There's other opportunities. California Small Business Relief Grant Program. It's a small business relief program that provides cash payments and is based on your gross revenue from last year's income taxes that you have on your business. Another opportunity is the iBank, which is Small Business Guarantee Loan. It's available to businesses with 750 employees or less, and there's no expiration on that date. So there's a couple opportunities, and what you can look for is business.gov, businessresources.gov. Oh my God, business.california.gov. There we got it. But make sure you write down that website so you can get on to look up and see if there's any resources to help you with your business to get back opened up. My legislative package for this year, 2021, a big one is AB 8, which would allow unemployment insurance recipients to receive it as a direct deposit. Instead of having a debit card come from Bank of America, it would be directly deposited into your bank account, which would be very beneficial. And you wouldn't have to worry about it being frozen, which is a big problem that they had with EDD. AB 1151 would allow our veterans to have a designation on their driver's license to not have to pay a fee for that. Currently, you have to have a fee if you're a veteran to put that on your driver's license, and that would eliminate that fee. It's very minimal in California. So I'm hoping that that continues. Actually, on Monday, when I get back in Sacramento, is my first hearing on that bill. So we're looking forward to the debate on that come Monday. AB 359, which makes reciprocity easier between physicians in different states. We have a constituent in Apple Valley. The father is a practicing doctor. His son is in Arizona, wants to come back and practice in California. They have 50 hours of continued education over a 2-year timeline. But the education that he received in Arizona does not qualify in California. So I'm trying to get that so that it would change that situation so he can come back and practice with his father. AB 1026 would require every board in the Department of Consumer Affairs to have a 50% reduction in the fees and the licenses for anyone that has served in the armed forces to start a business in California. Excuse me, we all know that we need more businesses in California, and that would help our veterans get started in a small entrepreneurship in California. And that's another one. That bill is actually going to be in committee on Tuesday. So next week's going to be very busy for me. AB 12 requires EDD to not put your social security number on the mailings. That is part of the big fraud problem. When they were doing out the mailings, your EDD was on your file paperwork. If everybody's noticed in the last year, a lot of break-ins in the mailboxes, that's what they were after. Besides your EDD debit card, they had your social security number. And AB 23 requires that they do a cross-check from your unemployment insurance claim with their inmate database. So if you're a criminal in jail, in prison, you're not receiving EDD money for your claim. And I'm co-signer on both of those bills. The big question here is opening up California. I've co-authored Let Them Play resolution. It goes all the way back into January, which put a lot of pressure on the governor to open up our youth sports, baseball, cheerleading, football, and get our kids back outside. And it's put a lot of pressure on the governor. You've noticed in the last month with a couple other issues going on in California, we're finally getting our kids back into school and back out into playing youth sports because they need to get back to exercising their body and their mind. I've co-authored AB 76, which was requiring the public schools to offer in-person instructions to get the kids back in school. Kevin Kiley, Assembly member, and myself have co-signed on to that bill. And it's pretty well opened up in the last couple of weeks. In between now and I think April 15th is the opportunity for the schools to start opening up. But the governors felt the tremendous pressure between being locked down and the recall qualifying. So we're really moving forward right now to get California back to open and our kids back in school. And that bill, AB 86, what it did is appropriate $6.6 billion to all the school districts, 1,100 school districts in California, for them to apply for those fundings, to get the resources to open up our schools. It incentivizes them to do that. They have till March 31st to get in-person instruction for the students, to get them back in school. And it pays for their the partitions, the mask, all the resources they need to open it up. Update on the legislative concerns of COVID-19, testing for the teachers, the part of collective bargaining, and the vaccines for the staff and the teachers so they can get the students back in school. And I think I'm gonna go get my vaccine later on today. A lot of opportunities for people to start getting vaccinated, which makes it easier and easier to get them back into school. San Bernardino County is moving. We were just a purple tier last month, in the red tier. We're real close to moving into the yellow tier in the next few days or early next week, which will open up more and more for our schools and our businesses. Things like some of our restaurants are opening up at 25. That'll open them up to 50 or 75% and get our businesses and get back to everybody's calling a new normal. I'm just calling it, let's get back to a normal. And then here's my contact from my district office, 760-244-5277. Please go on to Facebook.com/CA Smitty Smith and like my page. And that way we can keep you up to date with everything that's going on in Sacramento. And thank you for your opportunity today, Jason. And if there's any questions.
Assemblyman, thank you very much. Actually, the bills that you went over seem very logical. Hopefully there's not pushback, but you're probably fighting with the word logical in Sacramento, correct?
That and common sense. You just scratch your head. Yes.
I can tell you, my wife and I woke up yesterday morning, went to go to work and found our mailbox had been ripped out of the ground. Someone tried to steal it. The bills make sense and just common sense. I do have one quick question. A lot of our business owners that we work with, whether it's leasing or helping them acquire buildings, did receive SBA PPP money. Very helpful to get them through the pandemic. The federal government has said they're not going to tax PPP funds. However, there's been no ruling by the state of California. I know our CPA has said that he's got a lot of business owners waiting to file their tax returns on what the state's going to do. Any update on that?
The no update. There's a lot of discussion in Sacramento. Like you said, the federal government has said we're not going to tax it, but California, they want to try to tax everything you do. But we are fighting hard in California to not do that to the businesses after receiving that money and then telling them 6-9 months later, oh, you're going to be taxed on that income now. And that's not right.
No. Hopefully they lead what the feds do. So, Smitty, thank you very much. If you have any questions for the Assemblyman, please send them our way and we'll get them over. I can tell you that the Assemblyman is very approachable, very humble and easy to work with. And he really is available to everyone in our district, as is our next guest, Congressman Jay Obernolte. Smitty, thank you very much.